into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. Your love changes There's something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes every. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love, something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing.
No way. All right. How about that? My microphone got hit, so it was off. Can you hear me now? Hello? Come on. Bert Reggiani says it's all good. All right, well, I'm not going to repeat all of that. I'll probably save that for a bit. But let's say hi to everybody here. Ken, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Bert Reggiani, good morning. Chris Connolly, good morning. Ken Gooch, good morning, fellow brothers in arms. Steve Giroux, good morning. Sorry, my microphone was off. Bummer. Okay, I will just say the one phrase that I was trying to get across is that Jesus himself said, the sign, the only sign that I'm going to give you is the sign of Jonah. And he certainly referenced the 3 days in the belly of a whale and the 3 days in the belly of the ground. But I think Jonah is way more the sign that we get, because it's a description of whether the church understands its primary purpose, which is to go make disciples, or be the chosen people and gather together and just like being with each other because we're the chosen people. Not that that's wrong. We should gather together. We should do all of those things so that we might go out and be light in a dark place, so that we might share the gospel with broken, sinful people. And that's the primary issue with the book of Jonah, and we'll get there in just a second. Let me pull it up. We're going to look at just verses 1 through 5. Now the word of the Lord came to you and I. God, somehow through an angel, somehow he spoke a word to your heart and my heart and says, arise, go to Nineveh. Go downtown in an urban city. Go to a food pantry. Go take care of the sick and the injured. Go take care of alcoholics. I don't know. Take your pick. Go make disciples of all nations. So go to that great city and call out against it, for their evil has come up before me. Let them know that they're broken. Let them know that God's unhappy. Let them know that their sin is being seen by God. Let them know that they've got to repent, just like we've had to repent. But Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Jonah rose to flee. He's running away from his responsibility, and he's running away from God. He's going the opposite direction of Nineveh. Disobedience. We got to call it out. It's disobedience. If we don't do what God tells us to do, we're being disobedient. Because there's two types of sins. Sins of commission. Because of my lack of love, I do bad things. Or because of my lack of love, I do nothing. The sins of commission and the sins of omission. We're so focused on commission, doing bad things, but what about the failure to do good things? What about the failure to do what we're called to do? What about that failure? What about the failure of sum total in Christianity is I'm glad that I'm saved and I'm going to heaven and I love going to church and hearing a good message, and yeah, that's it. You mean there's more? Go and make disciples of all nations. Go. And that he flees. He actually is disobedient and he goes the opposite direction. He's trying to leave the presence of God because he's so angry that God's asking him to do something he doesn't want to do. He would rather be outside of his presence. So he went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. But the Lord hurled a great wind upon the sea. We can't run from God because he's God. Even to think that we can means that we're projecting our weaknesses onto the God of the universe. He hurls up a great wind in the sea, and there's a mighty tempest on the sea. Waves are crazy. We have instances of that in Jesus' day, right? The disciples are out there and they're bailing water, and Jesus is walking on the water, or Jesus is asleep in the boat. We have a couple instances where there's this almost supernatural disturbance in the weather and the waves. And the guys who are in charge of the boat were afraid, and each cried out to his God. Each of them is crying out to his God. Notice a natural reaction. They sense the supernaturalness of it, and they're crying out to their gods. Help us, help us. The God of the universe talks specifically to Jonah, and Jonah's response is, I'm out of here. Then mariners were afraid, and each cried out to his God, and they hurled the cargo that was in the ship, trying to lighten up the ship, right? They hurled the cargo into the water, but Jonah had gone down into the inner part of the ship and was lying down and was fast asleep. There's this moment when Jesus is asleep in the boat, and there's a storm. That's not the parallel so much as he's so happy to be getting away from God and the work that God called him to do that he doesn't even recognize the danger. He's oblivious. He is oblivious that God is pursuing him and God is after him, and he's not going to be able to run from him. He's oblivious. The perfect picture is they're all frantic and he's asleep in the boat, thinking he's got this whole thing under control, thinking that he's got this thing nailed, and he does not. All right, I'll leave it at that. Sorry about the microphone issues earlier. Let's get us back to the main screen, and let me say to you, blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.